I've been a Canon user all my life, starting with the 700D, making my way to the 7D Mark II, and eventually this one that you're seeing right now, which is the A7iii. Now, I've always loved every single Canon camera I've tried and that I've owned. Every single one has had absolutely outstanding autofocusing. However, one of the best things about Canon is their colours. But recently I turned 21 and my parents ended up surprising me with a brand new camera, which was the Sony A7 Mark III, which is this one right here. I recorded my first video with it last week, so if you want to check out some of the quality, you can go over there. However, I've been thinking about upgrading to this sort of camera for a while now, primarily because over time I've been more swayed towards the idea of going towards Sony, from the lenses being absolutely outstanding, all the way through to the quality of the camera bodies themselves being way more affordable than the Canon alternatives. So let's talk about exactly that, which is going to be the price. This camera comes in at brand new around about £1,700, however you can find it on deals for £1,500. And then if you want to go even further, you can also find it on even better deals if you decide to buy it used for around about £1,000 to £1,200 as well. One thing to think about as well is that if you are new to Sony, I'd say is to also get a kit lens with it, which is exactly what I ended up having, which was this one right here, which is a 28-70, which ended up costing in total £1,700 from it being brand new anyway. This camera overall just allows you to actually take photos, obviously, and it means that it's the same price as how much this body is brand new. For this price though, what you're getting is a 25 megapixel camera that has image stabilization built in as well. On top of that, it shoots 10 photos per second, which is really good. However, Sony also claim that it can shoot up to 89 per second, which is insane if that is true. I haven't really seen too much that kind of explores that in depth, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. Personally, I kind of think maybe it's something to do with the fact that it can take loads of photos within a second, and then it condenses a lot of those into one full raw file to make it even better. That's what I think anyway. Let me know if I'm wrong, so let me know in the comments down below if you know more about it. Now, it's also got automatic face detection, which is really good if you're recording video, or for example, if you're taking any form of photos. It specifically targets the eye of the person, which is really good because that means that you know if it's targeting the eye, everything else will most likely be in focus as well. It's also a full frame camera, which does mean it can use the E and FE lenses as well, which is really great. It just means that you've got more diversity of choice when it comes to the lenses that you want to be using. However, the primary reason that I ended up getting this camera is due to its videography skills, which is more in particular 4K at 30, and then on top of that full HD at 120p, which is the main focus for this. As my A7iii does allow you to record in 4K at 30, however the biggest thing for me is that I wanted to get more into slow-mo footage and work on building my videography skills, so because of that, this camera was something that just sit in a really good price range all round that I was looking at the time, and then obviously my parents surprised me with it, which is absolutely great. However, with this, it does mean that I can kind of explore into that world of doing more slow-mo footage, making more cinematic looking film as well. However, one of the biggest things that I've absolutely loved about this camera is its manual focus mode. I'm someone who typically shoots in autofocus. However, on this camera, it allows you to zoom in when you're doing manual focus so you can see exactly what is in focus, which is really great, especially as a Canon user who normally I hate using manual focus, primarily because it doesn't let you zoom in, so you kind of feel as if at times you're being lied to, because on the display, everything can look like it's in focus. However, then when you take it back to edit on photos, I always feel as if I end up getting that little bit out. So like the actual thing that I wanted is just a bit blurry. It's not like fully blurry, it's not gone off the rails, but it's just enough that it ruins the image for me, or maybe just pixel peeping, who knows. But overall, I just like the fact that with this, it zooms in all the way and gives you that ability to be able to see exactly what is in focus. Now, what I also love on top of that is the SD card slots, having two of them that you can also program to have one of them, let's say for film, and then one for photos. It's really cool, and that's what I use it for exactly. My first slot is dedicated to my 128 gig SD card, which is the bigger one with the more file size, and all-round transfer speeds are outrageous in comparison to the other, which is for photos. It means that all my 4K footage and just video footage in general sits on that one, and then the photos sits on the other one that's normally anywhere between 32 gigs and sometimes 128, but with the slower transfer speeds. Now, my intentions moving forward with this camera is twofold. One is for videography improvement, primarily because I want to get better at telling stories through videos and actually making better quality videos for this channel as well as my self-improvement channel, and making it more of an actual storytelling experience with video and actually doing it well. And the other is for another reason that I kind of mentioned within last week's video, which is about a Polaroid, and this is primarily around this idea of taking photos of moments and actually capturing moments instead of just trying to get the optimal photo. Obviously, I'm still going to be doing the second, because why not when you're using a mirrorless camera that can shoot a ridiculous amount of photos per second. However, the primary reason that I'm mentioning this is that with this camera, it kind of marks a new stage of, okay, I'm now leaving this part to now enter into a newer area of just testing out new things of the Sony cameras, being able to mess around and just actually take images of things that aren't necessarily the coolest thing, taking images of day by days. For example, these photos that you're going to see on screen now are just ones that I took on the first day of actually using it properly, which was after my birthday. And this basically just kind of was 5 photos that I took. They aren't necessarily outstanding photos, they aren't amazing photos, however they were just cool things to mess around with within my home, just outside and so on, that allowed me to just kind of capture a day within a few photos. My next moves moving forward is going to be around learning the settings on this camera a lot better so I can become a lot more acquainted with it, because I'm going from Canon to Sony. There's going to be a few things that I need to remember and work out, and then on top of that is going to be within the lens department. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I already have a 28-70, which is pretty optimal for anyone trying to get into photography. However, I'm not someone who's trying to get into photography. I've been doing photography for quite a while. I would like an option of different lenses, as this camera, my A7iii, I've been using the same 24-105, which is an absolutely great lens, perfect for this camera and does a great job at taking amazing photos with it. However, I wanted a bit more diversity with this next one. I use a nifty 50 on the other, and then this one is going to have a different prime lens instead. So yeah, to start off with, I'm going to end up getting the 10-18mm. All 3 of these lenses that I'm going to mention, by the way, I'm going to make videos on. I'm getting them within the next week. They should be delivered anyway by then. But yeah, the 10-18mm, primarily because I want to take more ultra wide sort of shots that you get, let's say, on your iPhone. I just think they look cool, and I'd love to do more landscape photography and get better at it, as it's the one area of photography that I feel as if a lot of people will say is really easy to do, but in my idea anyway, I've never found it absolutely easy to do, maybe because I'm not taking the right photos, but all in all, I just want to improve that one area, as I've always been someone who's way more focused on portraits, for example. Then the next up is going to be the prime lens that I'm going to be getting for this camera, which is the 85mm. Now this thing I believe is a 1.8, I believe, f-stop. I don't think it's the 1.2, which is like 2 and a bit grand, but yeah, this one here is absolutely outstanding from what I've heard. All the reviews of this thing are just nothing but positivity, so I can't wait to use it. I think it's going to be really cool to use. I can't wait to use it on car shoots, but on top of that, primarily for those portraits. And the last lens is going to be the 70-200mm, and this one is a G Master. It costs the same amount as the last 2 lenses combined, so yeah, very expensive, but apparently it is a really good lens as well. I can't wait to use it for, again, car shoots, but primarily because I want to get more into taking things like wildlife photos. I think it would be cool to do, and to also just try and work on that side of the craft itself, as all round I think it's really cool to see great wildlife shots. Yeah, like I said, all of these lenses I will be talking about in the future. I'll also do a video about this camera in around about 6 months time, actually giving my review on it and my overall thoughts. So yeah, if you are interested in that, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you do enjoy videos like this, make sure to leave a like and do subscribe. I upload tech content, photography content, and productivity content to this channel, so if you're interested in any of those 3 things, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week for a new video. Have a good one.